All right, so here we are. It's Wednesday, Stop Hunt Wednesday. Um, kind of possible fake out breakouts from the previous day, from breaking out of Tuesday. Kind of a lot of failures coming into Wednesday on that. Here's a trade that I don't think I just got at the market here real quick. And looking at the 4 hour chart, I can see that I want to put buy limits in. So the time frame really does change. Um, the trade that you immediately think, oh, I know this pattern. Yeah. Like you could say you're going to sell there because, it is above your 34 but there's one looming factor is that we've been going sideways and we know this is a doji because it closed where it opened. So it's guaranteed doji plus very small, then a little smash back, but this is a one, two, three leg pullback if you're on closing prices, or this is a one, two, three. That's a daily chart, 3 day pullback. And there's something called the Taylor method. There's a bottomless pit of trading systems. I've heard about the 3 drive, the 2 drive, the drove off the road drive. I just don't think that you can pick any one pattern and go, well, double bottom down here. Yeah, the only problem is this double bottom is just going to chew your account to pieces. And this is so in case no nonsense is listening, how to draw a trend line on closing prices. Well, this pullback here, you pull the trigger on that, and you just go, you know what? Let's put a goober stop in down here. We've all heard about these stops. Well, you put your stop in here. Also, we have an inverted hammer. We have small movements, so there's a doji. Did you really think? And trend lines don't work. Yeah, they're supposed to break. Like you draw a trend line from this doji rally through here and ask yourself, do you really think the market, this is why Corona's over, do you really think that's going to keep going down? This is like crude oil right now. You really think, okay, it could. It could. That's the daily chart. So when the no nonsense talks about the daily chart, I can already see his system probably kicks in about here and goes short. Or he does the trend trade, right? His trade's getting in here. That's if he's got all dialed in because that's also the measured move. We see this a million times, but which measured move are we in now? So are we in one that looks like this? So the measure being this is a 50% price pulse. The market goes here, double click that, highlight that line, change the color to something that's a little more. I have the ray turned off just so I can do segmental price pulses. And then you can kind of see these, but they are pip dependent because the thrust of this, and you hold down the control key, grab this, copy it, and do a perfect extension of that, just like that, right? We see this all the time. But there's one in here we can't see. We know there's one in here. These are serious moves. Look at that thing just smashing day after day. That's a double bottom down there. That is a market that momentum wise, forget this moving average. Trend lines are dynamic moving averages is constantly adjusting. It's just too much work for people. They couldn't draw a trend line like this and say, oh, I think I'll sell here. We're touching the trend line. Really? Tell me until that trade is later on. I'm sure the 4 hour chart looks like amazing. Like there were trades on the 4 hour chart here that you could have just made up a nice chunk of money compared to. But then you got to step in there with big wide tickets on this day. So somebody asked me a question about positioning of tickets. And here, I got to get this cash out of this trade here. Coming into Asia's slam dance. The Asian slam dance. So there's so many spikes that are just like mini black swans. And by the way, I took a look at this, and this guy is out of his mind. Let's face it. I can't even tell politically where he's coming from, but for him, everything he's a real naysayer about every topic. He's got depression bias, I think, or he's tested positive for being severely depressed. And I'm like, oh, listen to the guy go. He's talking about, well, it's not a black swan, it's a white swan, because you should have seen this coming. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. You fucking black swan dumb shit. Now, so I can turn on somebody like a Doberman pincer. The fuck? Oh, look at broke out, pulled back to the 30. Look at this. Pull back to, I'd take that trade. See, now when you start breaking your rules, because you got a hunch, are you just making all these indicators to say, well, look, if I lose money, at least I was running indicators. You can tell the mortgage company, hey, look, I had indicators. Come on. Do I look like an idiot? Do you know what an algorithm is, Mr. Bank Officer? Let me sit you down. It's like that one with Eddie Murphy, going to get in the bank loan. Talking like a severe white guy. Yes, I'd like to get a loan. Well, right, the guy just reaches behind the desk and a big wad of money. Poof. Okay, so I got to put on this trade here. Please hold. So I'm putting in really shallow limits because when I see the market, right now the markets are so volatile that what you used to be able to trade with a 20 pip stop, now you need an 80 pip stop. Same patterns. Nothing wrong with the pattern. But this is the daily chart of the British pound. So it would have been a complete, I suppose if you had a 3-day moving average here, you could do on the daily charts, you could just be like, oh, we're long, we're short. I wouldn't look at a 34 MA on a daily chart. What's the fucking point? Unless you can do harebrained shit like, look at this, it's a crossover, pull back on a cup and handle there. Yeah, but you want to buy the cup and the handle. You cannot just rely on one entry. Here, I bought a little bit at the market. There's scalps. But the trick is to go like this and say, I got enough money in the account. I can put orders in for 12 hours, 10 to 30 pips deep. Now, this is the double clicks. This is different than the drag and drops. The nice thing about these is you can tell yourself, okay, I could buy 50 to 150 pips deep for the next day on this currency. I don't even have to watch it. You actually could have put orders in. I know it's hard to believe, but you could have said, well, I'm going to get in. Shit, let me get my mouse out here. So you could have said something like this. I'm going to put in orders starting here, all the way down. People tell you out of your fucking mind first. But even to add more punishment to them just freaking out about what you're doing, you go to the weekly, right? So you're going to buy this whole crush down. I guess this is what's really disturbing, right? And people, oh, look at this. I got in here and oh gosh, see, the indicator doesn't work. See, because I bought this an uptrend. I know, but what about this really? Now here's a triangle above the moving average. Go long, right? That's a trend trader's entry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, and actually a trend line to be broken. You're kind of hoping they break. What's the point? Yeah, I know it doesn't. You could keep selling at that, and you could say the trend line failed because I kept selling it. Don't be a fucking. As Trump would say, don't be a cutie pie. Okay, don't be a fucking. Stop asking fake questions. No, but somebody asked the question about, and I could do this all day long. See this top breakout pullback. Oh, turns here, sell. All right, but you could have sold here again because it came back and retested that. So did you really miss out, or you missed out on like, oh, I should have got missed that divergence? Okay, you could, if you got the other trade plan going where you're just actually, this is the weekly chart. You've got buy limits in this little shallow crawl space. It's not a full basement, and it comes in and nicks it. Okay, it's playing wackadoodle there, but we know that if it ever takes out this, which was launching pad for the great trend lines that everybody drew like this, they're like, oh, dude, this is a trend line I drew. We're going to the moon. Don't forget the guys that drew channels. They're not. So the crowd, some big wig with a cigar is not trading against your channel going, yeah, we're not going to let that channel complete because, like no nonsense theory of life. Hey, they're going to let you have a couple wins, but not all the time. So, and is this really just the market exhausting above into some giant hole? If we zoom out up in here, there's got to be some type of cavernous thing going on. Let's hope. Because how can this market, oh, sorry, got a little sidetracked, but so if you told people, I'm going to buy from here to here, and okay, some of those scalps and some are going to be, my exit's going to be the floor. So I already know where I'm going to get out. And you can see this thing forming just like this one. If I was going to buy this crawl space right here, don't forget it's a weekly chart. I buy this. If I have exits where I think they're going to trap people that have buy stops here looking to go long on confirmation, because don't forget, it's still in an uptrend according to this moving average. And even now, really kind of, but you know what I mean? Not really. So also, it's a matter of degree. Are you in really deep and fat at one price? Do you have no wiggle room? Did you load too hard on one price and you have no flexibility to get out of some ticket? Because this all or nothing thinking is not, I can't do it. Only because I feel like if I'm up on the trade, sometimes you have to take small profit because you're like, this thing's vibrating up and down, so I'm not going to think that because it just went smashing up, oh, it's just going to keep going up. So on this weekly chart, like most people that are very conservative, if they bought this shelf over here, so I'm looking back to this hole, and they're like, okay, they're gonna buy that. And where are they gonna get out? They're gonna probably get out at the top of that. For that one strategy of putting in, it's a lot of work. It really is. Putting all those tickets in, or you would have cashed out of something. Let's hope on here. So if I look at to verify that there's a lot of interest in this price and that you could have got out at the top of that. So you're getting in all the way down. And this is the part that I guess is really hard. People don't like to think about martingale, but if from here all the way down, so this slot, you bought a 10K conservatively. I'm also talking about your stops on those tickets would need to be like, so you're risking dollars. And you would have got stopped out of almost all of those tickets. But that's just a 10K. And maybe your targets are some lofty, this is a weekly chart. I wouldn't trade this chart like this, but I'm just saying if you had to, and your exits would probably be above here. You figure if you're going to buy this whole smash down, that if you ever played back the market, you figure, well, they're going to come after this top. The market's going to be itching to come up into this thing. If it could ever get above the floor it took out, which is the biggest major floor is here. And people can say stuff like, yeah, well, I'm selling there, of course, because when it comes back to that moving average, I'm going to sell there anyways also, just like you, but it's in layers. So this guy sent me an email asking about, is it effective at all? So it's a pretty loaded question. It's very complicated. So I'm going to break it down as perceive it, because it really, so much would matter on how many layers of anything you'd put in anything and how deep those limits and how long they last. So the expiration is the real magic trick of it. So if you're a magician, it's timing and rhythm. And so you really have to say, oh, I've seen this market drop 20 pips in 1 hour. So right there, I already know I want to have orders layered in on the limit side in that kind of span for that amount of time. So it's almost like you're putting bait in the water, but you're not going to let it rot there. Or it's more like you're netting. Good. It's like grid trading is like netting fish as opposed to if you go on those ships where you're just trying to catch one giant fish. And I think people are trying to catch one giant fish, and they figure that, dude, you don't understand, man. This fucking rod and reel costs like $1,800. And I've been doing this a long time. Yeah, so this guy's catching big fish, but if you're just catching, you know, um, netting clams, I suppose, aren't really putting up a defense. All that kind of food, and whatever, or just get a shrimp farm, right? And so this is the question is it effective at all? Well, that's tough because once again, it's that all or nothing thinking about, well, I guess everything works sometimes, right? So maybe um, your wife actually says something you agree with. Well, that's crazy, man. Is she okay? So that would be for most people that are married. No offense to being married, but there's definitely that problem of, hmm, I'm thinking she's been cheating because she's actually agreeing with me now. People they get so. I think that's why this Corona thing is freaking people out. They're like, you could die. Are you serious? I think I'm sick. I'm really sick. If the person that's really, I'm like, man, you lucky fucker. I have to commit suicide and embarrass myself to end up as fortunate as you. And then people say, oh, you shouldn't make jokes about that. Well, what are you going to do? It is what it is. Here we are. It's only people that are alive that are shitting their pants about dying. So once again, I'll try to get back to this guy's question. Is it effective at all to place a layer of sell stops on top of your layer of buy limits and vice versa? Yeah, so, this is a psychological situation because what are you saying when you put a layer of sell stops on top of your layer of buy limits? So I think what he's saying is that the market's going up, you got your sell stops trailing, they're going to trigger, market's going to crush in, and you're going to start getting filled on these sell stops. Yeah, I think if you had your sell stops kind of stacked up in Asia and you're waiting for an Asian breakout, that structurally you can see. And you're going to have to maybe lose one of the three breakouts. Like there's a breakout in Asia guaranteed every night. There is no volatility in Asia. So this is like guaranteed 4-hour doji, but where are you structurally and where's the next void that you think is going to be the best place to put the buy limits to capture it going the other way? So you're trying to really maximize it. But I think it's psychological because if as the market drifts up, so I've done this trade and I'm not a big fan of sell stops, but I thought, well, I'll try a sell stop and a sell limit. I hit a button, 15-minute script, and the market's going up. And I'm like, no market orders. I'm bracketing on sell stops and sell limits slightly above, running a half hour to 30 minutes out in front of the market. Looks like we're getting a big rally here on the pound and the euro tonight. Wednesday's over. They just took out the lows from Tuesday on the euro. So, the layer thing is kind of a 4-hour chart thing, in my opinion, because you could let this shit stack up. You've got 8-hour sell stops in a narrow range, and you don't have to keep replacing those because that's a good trade. Like last night when the Asian breakout, the euro broke down. You could have had a hedge running and not even got trapped long. So sometimes you're going to get trapped and sometimes you're not. If you put sell stops that trail like 5 pips apart and there's a cluster of like 20 or 80K, whatever, like you can make it each one at 10K if you want. I don't know how much people are into risking. And then You go to sleep. This shit's got a 12. You press the button for an 8-hour expiration on a sell stop, and you're like, yeah, I know this is a shitty fill, but I ain't got time for this. Or you could sell at the market. You could just sell at the market and go to sleep with a tight stop. Same risk, right? They might kick you out of some of those tickets. That's why when you hit that sell button, you got to hit like, I would say at least 20 different stops on each ticket. So that, because it's bad enough if you hit that and go to sleep, the only way to kind of make it a better trade is to put different stops and different targets inside of a 20K. So you hit the button, it sells a 20K. You just copy and paste the market order on one button. And you can label that button 10K. You know it's a 10K with individual stops. You hit a button, boom. Probably take the broker like 5 seconds to fill it or something. So at least you've saved yourself losing the whole position, because how can you be this fucking wrong? Like, so if you hit the button and it's got a 5, say it's got Fibonacci stops on it, just for fun, right? 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, 55, 89 stop. You hit the button, you're like, of course the 89 stop's got to break even 89 profit. But that's how people would do it if they had the MT4 platform and they said, brokers let me trade like fucking crazy here, so I'm just going to do it. And you can put some bracketed stops in too. You're not tied to, oh, well, I get in like this, like that. That rule to me is just too ridiculous. It's like saying you have to play just one note on the guitar. Oh, you want to play another note? Oh, well, pick a good one because, you're going to be on stage. Who goes out and plays one fucking note on the guitar? So if you have like a scale or like a theme, so you can see the market's about to smash down, you go, dude, here we go. It's going to be fucking, people are going to shit their pants and they're going to miss that opportunity to buy the dip because they cannot believe the rate of change they're looking at. So the expiration on your sell stops is critical. I suppose because in a fast market, you could set them at 30 minutes. But, the broker's not going to accept a 5-minute script. He'll accept a 15, but then why bother? Why not just put a limit that lasts longer? So if you're trying to sell into a drifting up pattern, you'd have to say, you know what, this looks like, it's like you're a chef, This looks like it's going to need a little bit of sauce or something. This looks like it's going to need some help. And at that point, you're like, yeah, you have to put some seasoning on this thing. It's just not that, it's not that yummy of a thing yet. And so I guess that's the art of trading, is saying, well, this looks like it's going to be a fucking bloodbath. And of course, if they stop you out of your typical baby black swans where you get a little spike on the 15 and you're like, oh, let's go. Look at that. I just made fucking $50 just sitting here looking, just nonsense moves. When the markets are on fire, these things just like, boom, that was 28 pips. It's like 5 minutes. I looked at the Australian dollar. It's ridiculously volatile. So yeah, people are saying, "Oh, but you're also risking a lot more if you did lower your size into these insane markets." So all of a sudden, peanuts are like fucking watermelons in these markets. But yeah, having that. And you could flip it also. So in a down market, you could have buy stops trailing on top and buy limits below. So I was doing that one time. Another thing psychologically demanding is, what if you've got all this shit running like a circus? And I can't do it, but some people could maybe. Where you got, oh, I'm short the pound on stops, waiting to get filled, and I got the euro. Because I just can't, like, if I see my equities shift on that one account, I'm going to be like, where's that coming from? I should be winning. I'm not fucking retarded. I know this thing's going up. So why am I, and then Australian, plus it's sucking up all this margin, so I can't scalp. Because I want that. Also, you could have the market smashes down, and where's the target on your sell stops? So I'm thinking, in a true hedge situation, Asia, tight stops, tight stop entries, they're nearly market orders, but when the market caves in and it starts to pick up some steam, 20% of that position in 15 pips, I'm out. Because what if it smashes up? Not every breakout is clean, but everybody's looking for that, well, perfect checklist bullshit. I think to just, like, just put that trade on and say, but I mean, just so you can feel it, and then you go, yeah, I think. Oof. Now, do you take that one? These are micro mistakes. People have so much invested in one trigger pull. I mean, that's what they called it, pulling the trigger. I thought, what on a fucking bazooka? One shot? Here, it's like a fucking machine gun, BB gun is what I'm shooting. But yeah, you know what? You break in my house and I spray you with that thing, you're gonna be like, stop it. Isn't that enough? If I just start pelting you with maybe a little bit of a turboed up, supercharged version of a machine gun, BB gun, wouldn't you just be like, oh, fuck this guy? I'd rather him shoot me. Yeah, riot shot, right? Gatling gun riot shot. What the fuck? You really have to. Okay. But it's a matter of taste, And I think that the industry is aimed at um, just the silliness. I mean, if you go through Empowered Trading's, if you ever seen these manuals on, well, what we're going to do is, oh, does anybody know what a 200-day moving average is? And then you see it on the chart, and you think, well, that seems very simple to me, don't you? Clyde, look at this. It's going up. We should be long. And I had that same, I thought, well, that moving average, I go, isn't that? There's actually a book called The Magic of Moving Averages. I got it around here somewhere. I think I used it for a doorstop, or I don't, and there's the Eng book. Let's not forget Eng. It's like 380 pages with that paper that's really dense and pressed out. So the book weighs like 40 pounds. And it's like, oh my God, every indicator on the planet, I probably like porn for that no nonsense guy. I'd be like, yeah, did you want to throw that out? I mean, I spent so much money. It was like Wiley and Sons. I bought them in addition to their other house. I think I paid for it. I think they put my name on their garage. Wiley. I think the Sons were making more money than Wiley. But no, these are good things to think about. And, there are people that never read a book that trade amazingly because they don't have that narrative of like, well, what's going on here? And are the buyers in charge or the sellers? After the market just slammed down, I'm like, I think the sellers were in charge. Like everything is past tense, everything's hindsight. And so the forward looking is the limit orders because those are they could be super high and super low in the market and they could be way off in time. They're like setting a minefield. If trading's a war, you're setting a minefield. On the stop entries, you're kind of, I'm assuming you're going for the confirmation of that style of entry. Plus, you can change the time envelope of them stacking up. So if you're setting 4-hour sell stops and buy stops, you're assuming it's a fast market. You just want confirmation as the market reverses and goes flying the other way. The problem is the market's probably going to come back, dead cat bounce, maybe a little more down, maybe just go chop and accumulate underneath a void from history, from looking to the left. And so that kind of move is going to be like, yeah, we know this move too. So the sense of the doldrums, is that even tradable? Well, not from a buy stop, sell stop entry because they're going to chop you to death. So every time you come up with a scheme, it is always pip and time dependent because in Asia, you might trade a broad-based breakout, even put your buy stops 10 pips above current and sell stops 10 pips below current. Now you've actually opened yourself to a 20 pip loss if both legs fill. So, but you're assuming that you're going to run a 30 pip stop on that. So you're actually you will lose that leg, but then another 10 pips and then you'll lose. And so why you'd want to have the 5 pip stop entry that's a scalp into, unless you have a money management robot that's going to come underneath and start moving the stops and everything that filled you. If it's a complete static setup, like where you keep hitting a button every 2 hours and the scripts last for 8, now you're stacking it buy stops and sell stops in whichever way it goes. Hopefully every time you hit that button, though, putting in a unique stop on that one so that in the case that the market goes nuts and kind of traps you and then eventually hits target, okay, you only make double your money. You could have made 4 times your money if it would have unfolded in a different way. So it's just a sense of like every time there's a doji. That's why I said you could build a doji bot. It shouldn't be too hard. If somebody could build me a doji bot, let me know. I mean, it's the dumbest fucking. I'll give you. There's a secret. The market has only it opened and closed in 1 hour and only moved eight pips on the euro dollar. Okay, I want to put a buy stop and a sell stop 2 pips away from current price with a particular target. That's the whole robot. If you run that robot, he will not make any money over time. But if you take that robot code, you just give me the source code on that, and I'm done. Because you know what I'm going to do then? I'm going to write 20 versions of that robot with unique time and unique exits. And I'll be like, okay, that one robot, that team of robots is going to be on this market. I would just treat it like people that it'd be like a virtual prop house. I talked about this like 3 years ago. You build this virtual prop house where you're like, okay, this is my Goober trend trading bot. He's going to get in when it pulls back to the 34. And sometimes that trade does work, right? But then I have my 4-hour breakout bot. So this, you got to have this diversification because when the markets heat up, the stop bot's going to win in the sense that every time the market pauses, it's an opportunity for the breakout bots or the breakout traders. When the market's screaming like a whore, you're either not in that thing or you're accumulating in a martingale, buying more as it smashes down. So you would buy your 20K in here. The guy that's saying it's peanuts, dude, you put a 200 pip stop on a 20K each ticket. And then you buy 20K here. They blow that up, let's say. Now you're going to buy in this little slot here, you're going to buy like a 40K. And then every time it goes down, you're going to buy more. But you're really buying it based on here. So everything below here is where you need to load the wagon. And most people are shitting their pants. Plus, look at this. Look at this vicious depth. Like, that thing just obliteration. As stocks went down, this thing, Hammerville on the weekly. Zoom out. See where you're in the landscape of everything that you. This is a very brutal currency. I don't even have a pip grid on this thing. Here's where your eye is drawn to immediately and cherry picks this trade as, wow, look at this thing walk up this moving average on the weekly. Man, just keep buying at that moving average. This is what sucks people into. Yeah, you know what? This thing did so well here. I've seen people, and I'm assuming what they're doing, they built a robot for this particular situation where breakout pullback. Every one is golden buy at the 34. And the linear weighted makes it nice and smooth, almost like a trend line. So it's very deceiving. Here I see this as being the scalpers peeled everything off the floor here. Also, when you martingaled into this, your order density had to go up and you had to cash out of a lot of that along the way. Once you go to the daily chart, you can see how the orders that start here, you scalped out in all those tickets in one day, or 2 days, smash down, but then here comes the true trend is closing prices. And if you did have the trailing buy stops here, so imagine you got your buy stops trailing, cancel, replace every day. This is true goober trading. Total confirmation entry. You don't give a fuck. If it makes a higher high, you're in, right? And then you got the buy limits out in front of it, say. But you're not adding to a loser in the sense that this needs confirmation to take out the high of the previous day. Here it traps them. But notice, if you did the same trade plan, cancel, replace, okay, scratch that trade and come down here. And the deeper it goes, the martingale here is that there's a buy stop on a 1K. Now you have a 2K buy stop. Now you have a 3. Now you have a 4K. The deeper it goes, the bigger this ticket gets. Because the potential for this thing, of course, you're trapped here and you say, oh, fuck, but you'd have to actually make this one, you have to keep the math going and make this one an 11K or whatever. You're adding 2K every time it goes on. So you're actually loading the wagon. Because when you break this out, wow. Take out the high that day, and you could call it a stop pump, but I'm sure that the guy that sold has a stop here. They just blew his stop out. They blew out the bear stop, coming back the other way. Instead of leaving these buy stops here and going, adding to a winner, no, move them down and fatten the order, which is completely counterintuitive. And you're not adding to a loser because you only got trapped technically on this breakout, and that's why you go to the weekly chart and have less traps, right? Because the weekly, we just got filled. So you're kind of trapped there. You're actually kind of like somebody that put a buy stop on the weekly breakout. That is a lot of risk. I mean, look at the size of that thing. So the time frame and just the rules for that you think that you're going to stick to this discipline. I don't know if that's discipline. I think discipline is repeating a concept. The concept you could plug into, right? So if you're watching porn on a 15-inch monitor, what's the difference of a 40-inch monitor? You just scaled up. Or a 3D glasses porn. So you're doing the same thing. You just made it bigger. Bigger picture, right? Okay, so it's like it's so hard because these markets are time frame dependent. I mean, here it looks like a great buy. I would keep pulling the trigger all day long on this 4-hour chart. The daily is hard to accept that you would buy it. I mean, this is a classic trend entry. So I'm going to keep buying this thing right now. I'm going to hit the buy trigger here. So the market orders, I think you got to get in here in Asia. So this is about, I don't know what time it is here. I'm not sure what we got here time-wise, but about 7:15. So this is the 4-hour chart, which means this is the, I guess you call it make that new low. A lot of people get in. They made their money. The sellers came in on this rooftop up here. Or this is the attic. If the other one's a crawl space, this is kind of like it's a dormer, I think they call them. You got that half attic up here. And these are very subtle moves, and sure, they're tradable, but not necessarily to the person that's looking to, like I said, these things, if you put a fat enough order bank in there in that slot, and it's very narrow, so instead of using my grids, I could just use this order. This is 10 pips apart. That's how volatile this is. That's 10 pips apart, so I actually want to get in down here, and I could hand place a rack like this, right? I know this is $30 risk to make 40. And then I would make this last like all week long. Because I know this, I'm always going to want to buy like this. And then I would do the same thing here. So that's allocated maybe on a different account. You could have a swing account like this where you just put these dumb shit, like just canvas this whole thing down. I mean, you can see that you're risking 40 bucks. You got 40 bucks? He'll make 20. It's a high probability he'll make 20 here also. You're risking 40 to make 30. And yeah, you could have a sell stop sitting at the top of this rack. This is the 4-hour chart, and you could go short here. I mean, this would be the kind of proving the moving average wrong kind of smash down. It could happen. We are losing momentum. We got like it's either an ascending or a descending triangle or whatever however you want to spin it. You could also, this would be wave 4, an Elliott wave. We come back to this 34 moving average. One last go at it. We know there's sellers galore above here, so we could place all our sell limits in this little window. And we could scalp to the bottom of that box for the kind of retracement turnaround trade. And maybe you do hold on to something because everybody's going to hope it makes it back to where it broke out of. So it breaks out of that. If tops become bottoms, this is a top, breaks out, comes back to there. But you don't want to be like in power trading, like, well, we're going to wait first for it to go up there and go down, then we're going to buy here. Well, why don't you just buy now? Like, I always blew my mind that they wouldn't, like, well, because there's no confirmation yet. I know, because you split you put 8% you put 2% of your account into this fucking trade. You got 100 grand in account. What a fucking idiot. What? When I heard these people are risking, I'm like, wow, man, you must have like somebody chauffeur you around. Are you that lazy? I'm just blown away. I don't know. Don't you want to make your don't you want to film your own porn at home, honey? I got an idea. Come here, hon. Then it's okay to call her hon. A little to the left. No, act like you're enjoying it. Oh God. Oh jeez. The neighbors can hear us, honey. I know that's what makes it so more exciting. British pound. So you can make all sorts of, you can make arguments. Oh, look how great this trading system is. Like, I came back here and oh, you stabbed through the moving average. You could have pulled the trigger. Yeah, but all you had to do is keep running a constant blanket of buy limits every 4 hours. You would have caught that one, but you would have not got filled if you kept pressing a button that kept on just laying in buy limits. You can see that if they'd have to last like 12 hours for you to get filled on this. If you say you're in an uptrend, and I just want to be a stop hunter, I just want to hunt stops. Like I'm just going to keep putting. So maybe the whole week goes by and you don't get filled, but you got buy limits just pending here all night long. You're like, yeah. So the S&P 500, what happened there? Look, it fell through that stuff, right? All those little pillows I built, it fell through there. It was not a good trend trade. Your algo fucked you. Well, sometimes these algos they just don't. But you weren't you suspicious when you said, oh, it's coming back to my moving average? And now they gotta go stop hunt and take out this low of Sunday night. Gee, I wonder who bought there. The smart money bought there. Yeah, but it was going down. Why would they buy? Well, you don't trade reversals, do you? See, all these rules. I mean, I've never seen a guy with more rules. How do you say I make a salad? It's got to be a certain kind of bowl. We don't just use any bowls around here. What do we look like? I guess the guy that decides to be his own chef. He puts on a chef hat. Look at this 4-hour S&P. So it's just kind of treading water here. And then they're blaming this like, oh, they came out with the numbers of how many dead people. Dude, get a grip. People die. I'm so sorry to tell you. There's so many fucking people, too. I can't believe there's so many dead people. Dude, there's so many. Isn't world population? I was watching the numbers the other day. I did a video on it. See, I got it right here. Fucking Corona. There, I'll show you. This coronavirus. Check this out. Corona time. Oh, coronavirus. What do we got here for stats? Let's take a look here. It's Corona time. It's just amazing. So I got you. You got 7,400 dead people in the United States from this thing, supposedly. 600 today. And, it's fascinating. I don't know where these numbers come from, but there's a lot of people in the world. You look at the total amount of people, and I guess I never looked at this stuff. How many people are just on their way to just, you know, we're making more people every day. Come on. So we've got almost a million cases. Well, that's not bad. Uh, is this really a bad death rate? 46,000 dead? I don't know. I was looking at the numbers from the April. It's funny. It was April. They bracketed the last virus from April to April. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Suicide at the disco. Here we go. Market's going up. Please hold. A double bottom on the 15-minute chart, euro dollar. Those dead people are really depressing me. Oh, how's gold doing? How about the trusty DAX? See, coming back to retest. So here's the 4-hour German market. Same kind of stop hunt thing here. So this is the big question. Are we going to cave into here? And would you buy a 1K, a 2K on limits and just walk away from this trade? Would you stack up tickets like this? Isn't that a question? And these are very big deals. Each one of these lows, who wouldn't just love to buy down there? It's a 4-hour German market. I mean, this country, dude, they're living. They're probably already up for bid. They probably never closed. I don't know. Well, this is like resistance up here, isn't it? No. Well, just notice that. Look at, oh, yeah. Oh, my God. Like, that's a triple top. According to No Nonsense, though, obviously they're kind of like, this is support, and we could probably come just there and there and there and there, forever. Or if you cave in, it's not support, is it? You can't make those arguments. Those are just one trade arguments. And he would say, well, you sold here, and it just took off here. I mean, this wasn't enough money for you, apparently. It's nice, clean. Look at this thing fall out of bed here. Coming into, as they tip this window, just nick that wick, and then doji. Here comes the trend traders or the confirmation people. Sell stops here, buy stops there. And you could, this, of course, is not going to work every time. That's why you need a team of bots. You got like a buy stop here. Wow, nice clean trade, Trailing buy stop gets triggered here. You could have it just cancel replace. But then this, you don't really want to buy stop here, do you? It wouldn't hurt you, and you don't want to sell stop here. You want to start scooching your sell stop up tighter and tighter. The market gets quiet. It's telling you what to do. Look at this cute little hammer, 4-hour. That's a hanging man, don't you know? This could tank right into here. So and of course, how big are these tickets? I would definitely place my orders based on these lows, though. There's going to be a big battle, and of course, your exit's already predetermined. You're going to get out at the top of whatever retracement canvassing this area. This ticket would get out, say, here or here. But you're committing to a range. And once again, buy stops, trailing, cancel, replace, keep making this ticket bigger. We might have to dip into this window. We could cave into this window. But then it just makes this a better price. So it's really hard because it's happening so fast, and You could jump on the short train there on in some level. That's the 4-hour chart. It breaks out. Okay, but you always got to take that first burst off the table, because what if it just kind of dips in the window, and like it did here, dips in that window on Sunday night, actually takes out that, and then off to the races. And then this void becomes the looming void on the top side. That becomes a problem. So I'm looking at the voids. This is the void we filled just now. We've completed that. These don't matter to the market, I don't think. All the market sees now is this giant cavern and this wedge. And there could be all sorts of shenanigans in here. And, touch that, come back to that, touch that. And it's like people just lose their mind. Trend traders just lose their mind on that shit. They're like, what am I going to, okay, false signals. I'm getting whipsawed. Hey, getting whipsawed. It's kind of noisy. Don't you have some Ranko you can put on that? Okay, what the fuck's going on with all this stuff? Like hammer, doji, hammer. What am I supposed to do? I guess you could put a sell stop. There's a very small candle. Is that enough money for you, that move? Or do you want to wait for the market to prove it's going up, and then I'll get in? If it takes out this high, I'll go long. Okay, you could make money on that. But technically your stop's supposed to be here for that entry. Are you waiting for it to come back to this top? It may never happen. So the answer to me is to go and lay buy limits that last for 15 minutes, half hour, 2 hours, just trying to catch something here. It's a high probability trade. And yeah, maybe later when London opens, it's going to go berserk and you'll be able to get on some other train. That's possible. Somebody said something about a template that I can't remember where it was on the film, but templates are a psychological thing. Also, I think maybe it was this one. This is closing inside of, so it's like I call it ultimate Bollinger Bands, because it's just a one period moving average of high and low. Got really, really snug bands. Very bizarre looking chart, just closing prices and highs and lows, and I think I got the candles inside that. So it kind of accentuates the void, so to speak. At least for me. I can see this a little more clear. This, so here's like a head and shoulder, like a double top on an angle. And there's people that draw trend lines on highs and lows, and they would just draw the trend line right on that. And that's how that, I guess, is like a volatility trend line. It's good for that. See, I put this rack of tickets in here, but I don't know how long it lasted for, but that was a good placement on the 4-hour euro to the pound. So this is a good order placement, but I don't know if these tickets lasted long enough to capture that jump. And these were too deep to get filled, so that was just a click, or that was a drop that just never filled. But like the no-nonsense guys that are afraid to lose money, hey, look, I didn't lose any money. But it's about the exposure. I'm sure there's people right now looking to sell this when it comes to this moving average. They're like, yeah, that's my system. Probably got to keep nailing that system over and over. Certainly this, I think the scalpers have dumped out into this. Anybody that bought this plungeola, and then they even got in heavier and went martingale, full retard martingale here, and they're out of that. That's a quick and dirty trade. Here's the ultimate entry on trend. Here, not so much, right? Once again, another failure of moving averages. You don't need to back test this to see that you really got to hustle. Alicia Keys, get the hustle. You got to, here's a nice symmetrical move from here to here. Add that to this. It's a Andrew Cardwell trick. You take the highest close between this line and then add it to the top. Gives you a projection. That's how you end up with that measured move. Here's the down version. Take this line, add it to the lowest close off of this. In between those two lines, I guess for this, it's not the lowest close, but it's pretty damn low. It's certainly the most violent move. That's like your Gartley bullshit. But it's just not going to help you get over the agony of some of these fucking moves. There's really nothing to soothe other than the fact that you've spread out your risk and you're not, that every day is another opportunity, especially if you could have traded these dead people. Like I say, if you look at Italy, you can see how I wanted to go to Italy because that's where the trend falls off. I noticed that we missed a short on Italy dead people here. Go by country. Okay. Let's go to look at this. We could have really made some money on the downside here. Less dead people. Going short dead people so long. Because yeah, but I envy the dead. Honestly, man, they got it made. They're like literally made in the shade. Go to the bar chart. Here the bar chart tells all. The pullback. Or the head, there's a head and shoulders here in Italy. Brace yourself, you missed this trade. I hate to look in hindsight, and actually hindsight's a real heartbreaker too, so. I'm going to call this head, shoulders. Now we could have put a sell stop right here and gone short, right there. We're retesting the breakout point here. So if this fails, then we're in trouble. It's probably going to, drift down. And I think we missed our opportunity. Maybe that's why the euro's going up. Oh, shit. I just lost something on my tablet. So touchy, this fucking tablet. You gotta be careful if you run Windows T4 on a tablet. You can move something and you'll end up dragging it right off screen, and then you've got to force it. I'll just let it go. Because you can't find the navigator. It's like missing. It's off screen. Yeah, you gotta kill the program to reload it. Oof. Okay. I gotta reload that. I don't know what the fuck I did. When you reach over to something, I hate all these fucking touch screens. I don't know how to lock them. I mean, you lock it, you can't, there's nothing, but I want to have it so it's like, maybe there's a way to lock. So you can just view it and paw it and just, use it as a coaster and not fear. Oh, here we go. I made it go invisible. That's awkward. Okay. Sorry. So I'm gonna put some buy limits in really shallow. So that's my favorite trade is trolling like 5 pips deep. Like for an hour, I'm gonna buy 3 to 11 deep with the 18 pip stop. That's like a 5K. So I pretty much put a 30K in with a few clicks that are just all different positions. So it was kind of a bitch. I mean, I had to write every script and then just go, okay, there's like 20K. I could just put in about 100K. If the market's plunging, I'm going to throw tickets in like 50. So it's all double click stuff. Boom, boom, boom. And then I'm like, you know what? Just sit back. I'm not going to sit there and buy at the market as it's dropping because I've already figured out that, okay, it's going to cost me $80 to make 150 on this rack of tickets. If I hit it like that, and it does not guarantee the market is going to plunge into the deeper orders and start risking $120, now $240. On a limit fill like that, you're underwater by X. And sadly enough, you're trying to hold on to your first entry in some regards. So if I lose 30% of the whole position, say it's 240K possible fill, but it only fills 125K. As soon as it retraces 20 pips, it's already dumped like 35K. Now I have the flexibility of saying, I'm going to put in some 10Ks, real shallow, and it just becomes this kind of, it'd be like if you played tennis. When you start the ball, a new ball is all fluffy. You have to hit it different. Like a ball that's broken in, you can just beat the shit out of it and it's fast, right? So that first volley is like the scalp, it's ranging. That's kind of like rehearsing it. I mean, the ranging, that kind of rhythm, but then when the market goes into a trend mode, you're like, holy shit, this thing is not stopping. And it's churning in one direction. And I suppose that's the favorite trade because it makes sense. It's going up and it's pausing and letting you board the ship, and there's no news to fuck up your perfect moving average. But then there's those spastic moments where hopefully you're cashing out of something because it just went nuts, and you're like, oh yeah, because you kind of get excited when it goes nuts, but not realizing that in the next 7.5 minutes it's going to rip back and actually go below your entry. And you might wonder why and think they're manipulating it. No, there's a lot of there's a lot of money. There's a lot of people coming in with orders, and there's a lot of price discrepancy. And since this market's up and that market's down, everything is nuts. And I guess they call it the wealth effect. I mean, certainly people that are having margin calls are going to have to liquidate a gold position. Not because they want to sell, because they fucking are out of balance on their books, so they're going to have to offset it. Or they're using for collateral. The weirdest thing I ever heard in my life was people were leasing gold. Banks were leasing gold. And you're leasing gold? I guess. I mean, you're paying rent on collateral, I guess. Storage. I mean, you got to pay for somebody to make the combination of the safe, so it's hard to crack open and steal the gold. So I think there's more movies made about like the whole this Nicolas Cage one I saw for free on YouTube where they cleverly comes back with a fucking argon acetylene insane torch and some fucking crazy ass welding torch and just cuts into the bank vault through the concrete and melts the gold and then runs away with it. That's better than carrying the bars up. Took him a while to figure it out, but it's a movie. And in these movies, people, oh yeah, let's see that movie about I remember the Wall Street. I remember Trading Places. I didn't realize that, he's trading stuff that is like brutal, like orange juice and hogs. They go limit moves all the time. So Eddie Murphy's trading and making money on this stuff. And those are like heavy hitter trades because you're on the wrong side, you're dead. They weren't trading corn and soybeans in there, which is a very liquid market. It's very tame. It's very almost safe to trade. A lot of people trading it. Margin requirements not that high. Hence the low volatility. Just like if you're trading something that is cheap, like New Zealand dollar or Australian dollar, you can buy 2 Australian dollars for the price of. So that's the other appeal of trading all these currencies that are cheap is that it takes less margin and you have more flexibility. You can split that ticket a lot easier. But you're probably just, on the other hand, the downside, you're disappointed. I'm not making enough money fast enough. This was a great trade. Why didn't I go long? Dead people right here. What were you thinking, man? I built an algo for this fucking Corona. I didn't want to say anything because I don't want anybody to take me to jail. But that'd be the first. Okay, this is Elliott wave. Wave 1, 2, pullback. Wave 3 is the biggest wave. Wave 3, consolidation. Wave 4, wave 5 will be a failure wave, in my opinion. I'm not just going to drift down bell curve. So we have to consider that too. Um, but I don't know. I'm probably sure there's people that if I called the mafia tonight, they'd be like, yeah, sure, we can put that trade on for the bet on you. It's a guy in Vegas doing the numbers and okay, where are we at here? What are we looking at? Stock market, nice buy there. I think they trapped the goobers. Corona is cured. It's going to be so amazing. I love the way Trump, I feel like Trump caved into this thing. I think he went full retard liberal here at the end. He's taking a lot of abuse, but he's going to just put it in his, because he read a script like they had a gun to his head. A lot of people would say the last thing he read about, oh, I know it's going to be a very painful week. Yeah, you know what? People are already going back to work. Trust me. I'm a really good monitor of traffic and people's behavior. And people are going, you know what? Fuck this shit. They're just like, dude, no, I'm essential. I just voted myself essential. Get the fuck out of my way. I don't know if you can sense it, but this is the turn. It's April 1st already. People are like, dude, I got rent to pay. You know, my bill's coming up too. No, just get the fuck out of my way. You know it's coming. People are like, don't spit on the sidewalk. Yeah, right. Yeah. Oh, $5,000 fine for me trying to live. I'm sorry. Um, can I lick that doorknob before you put your hand on it? I prefer I like the stranger danger. Welcome to the nanny state. On the left, you will have some lotion to clean your hands. And then we're going to rate. Remember that people were pissing and moaning about they're radiating the food. But they radiate your fucking body. Now when you get on the plane, they go, zzz, they just buzz the hair off you, right? Like Schwarzenegger or one of these movies. They laser the hair off you. They scrub you with a wire brush. Get on the plane. You're good to go. Okay, next. You can't beat just sitting in front of all your glowing monitors and trading his lifestyles compared to, I guess it's a perfect fit in that sense. I mean, I feel like I'm in lockdown anyways when I'm babysitting some of these trades. Like, I can't focus on anything else. Peering into the insanity of pure chaos, price chaos. Trying to build a holy grail. Just one more indicator. Yeah, I think somebody has to do intervention on no nonsense. Like he's like an indicator junkie. If I just had one more. He's chasing that first indicator buzz. When he first saw a moving average, he's like, hey, wait. He's like, wow, look at that. It's like the first time somebody saw a Ranko chart. Look, she's like perfect. Are those real breasts? Yeah, well, we put a moving average on her breasts. They look a lot better with like 8-period moving average. Oh, I wonder if crude oil's a buy. You think? Now, honestly, weekly crude. You ready to go short? Maybe not so much because Corona's over. I'm just, it's going to be a real, another bigger loss for fake media and the Democrats. They built the nanny state. I like how they want to blame Trump for all the bullshit they built. All this fucking, now they want to do a shovel-ready jobs. Instead of learn to code, it's going to be learn to fucking pour concrete. Yeah, that's what it's going to be. That'll work. Perfect fit. Look at the daily. You going to go short? Hell yeah. It's in a downtrend, son. Yeah, you go short crude for me. I heard somebody saying, yeah, you can put orders out there for like, I don't know, it's Trump. Trump is whining like a bitch about it too. Like, oh, you can put an order there for $8. Yeah, somebody will fill it. Not on the spot market, but so who cares? Well, it's just crushing our oil. Everybody's pissing and moaning. Meanwhile, I don't know. There's 5,000 dead people in the United States of like, can we do some math? Um, okay, you lose about maybe less people on the roads today, but let's conservatively say 2,000 people a day die in the United States driving a fucking car. This is with airbags. And guess what? Driving's legal. Now what? Right? Driving's legal. So it doesn't make sense. And they're talking about 100,000 dead people in the United States. Are you nuts? If 1,000 people a day died through all of April, that's 30,000 dead people plus that's 35,000 dead people. You really think this thing's just going to keep clobbering people? I don't know anybody that's, maybe you know somebody who's sick. I get the same amount of idiots out driving cars. That ratio has not changed. So congruent, so stable. Talk about consistent trading goobers. But yeah, no, it's no fun. It's just like lawn darts, jarts, lawn darts. They made them illegal. Yeah, it looked like fun at first. That stuff always looks good on paper. Hey, I got an idea. You've heard of darts? Well, you've heard of lawns. Lawn darts is no brainer. Look at crude oil. Look at this. This is what I call like hyper distribution up here. That's where George Soros traded up there. Look at that daily. Look at that thing. Wow, what was going on there? That was last year. This thing started tanking right here. Beginning of January. Is this the beginning of the war? I don't think so. I think it has to do with this. And this is like a whole sideways thing. Then we go falling in that hole. Oh my God. Yep. So the cure is they have a cure for it, and the media wants to just keep never mentioning the fact that you take this thing, this certain hydrocortisone, hydrogen peroxide, and you're all healed up from that. That's all it takes. But not everybody is immune. Not everybody's. There's people that are, compromised, what they call diabetics and all that stuff. And there's just, we don't live forever. It's so sad because, I kind of want to see how the story ends to see if I'm right. So I like, I want to be up there about gold to be at 5,000 in about 10 years. Oh, I have to be here. So I want to see if I'm right about that trade. Maybe that's what I'm thinking. I want to be right. Look at New Zealand versus Swiss. This is a unique indicator. Maybe this is what the guy was talking about. What this is a session thing where you can choose. I think these are 1 hour time blocks. Oh, these are 4 hour time blocks. And in this situation, you could visually see that. Look how it turned at a dime there. And below this, I think it's either a 50 or 100 yard line. It's not labeled like the other one is. I think that's 50 pips. That's 50 pips. So the scalpers buy this and then they dump into the floor and then there's a retest. So if you scalp to here where everybody is getting out, then you could have held, and you can see the double bottom of the 15 inside the 4 hour frame. So this is 5 p.m. here, 9 o'clock, 1 o'clock, and 5 a.m., 9 a.m. Here comes the opening of U.S. markets, and if your trailing buy stop is on the 4 hour, then boom, you're long. But you still have to scalp out of something. And where does that thing go to? Well, once it gets up to here where you would have martingale done on the short side, and if you had all this stuff running, buy stops and sell limits, yeah, you're certainly maximizing the rhythm method. And of course, if you sell imagine your stops here for all these sell limits I'm going to talk about. So you got a sell limit here on this rooftop, and that's a 2K, a 3K, a 4K, and a 5K. Kind of linear scaling in, but by the same, okay, when that's going down, I would do a cancel replace and making this buy stop fatter and fatter. Even though, if you look at this chart, people can make the claim, well, I just have buy stops here, and I made money. Yeah, because that's presupposing you took off money along the way, because if you did not, they came ripping all the way back to the breakout. That was the initial breakout, and we came all the way back to that, and actually went deeper, and then did a stop punt on the bulls that have a stop trailing here. So it's kind of like a 4-hour stop hunt, right? Because if you kept buying every new 4-hour new lows confirmation, the market makers, so to speak, are getting filled here on this wick and then dumping. They buy new lows and they dump. They're counter trend trading you on the 4-hour. And you can see clearly that at the end of 15 minutes, if you pull the trigger, or you just have a basket of buy limits here. So if you want to feel like you slayed the dragon, I guess you're going to pull the trigger. Just like here, look at the turn on the dime of the 15. Double bottom of the 15 underneath the floor. Comes back to the floor. People scalp out. Another retest. Meanwhile, this vacuum is looming. This wedge. We keep poking down. And this is a great trade here because your order banks, if you have a soft stop, in other words, all your stops are just in here like this, okay, you survived quite a bit of that. And you would have got out here logically, because that was the void inside, on the 15 there. And you'd be out. There's a beautiful triple top, but I think it's like, this is the smallest 4-hour bar, so there's stops stacking up here, even from people that are long. You're kind of using their protection as entry. If your buy stops here, no fill on this side. You get filled short, but you got to take the money and run, because now you're coming into the buyer's window where all the limit people, all the people that want this, they want to gobble up this price so they can dump it when it takes out this. It's technically engulfing this, because when it goes down here, or it's in reality engulfing. If it goes down, it takes this out. How does it become an engulf pattern? Well, it would be an 8-hour chart, right? If it takes this out, eventually it takes this out. And at the end of this session, since this is a 15-minute chart, these 4-hour blocks, on like an 8-hour chart, it did engulf. Just like an engulf pattern on the 15 is a hammer on the 30. Right? Come on. And sellers all galore up in here. Sell limits in here. Now you'd have to scalp to here. So everything's dependent on, well, are you going to do this little, like when you're playing pool and you break the balls near the pockets, you're going to put those in first. That's the scalp. Then the hard part is, how do you ride that last position, or even add to something, or sit back in a small position and ride that? Or you just go, you know what? I'm good. I bought this stop hunt, and they just trapped, in essence, they just trapped this breakout trader, didn't they? Anybody has a buy stop and a sell stop here, because they're like, well, that's 4 hours of nothing going on, and I'm going to bracket that with a buy stop and sell stop. That's why, if you're on the 15, if you can imagine, I'm sure people trade the 15 and they can do it. imagine you're actually trading that 15-minute chart. Within this 4-hour bar, what would it look like? I'm assuming it would look something like, well, I sell every rally on the 15, and I'm considering this double top on the 15. So I'm going to sell that top because it's up. Every time it's up on the 15, I sell. So I sell here. All right. And I sell here. And then I sell this, and I sell that rally, and I sell that rally, and I sell this one, and I sell this one, and I sell this one. But at some point, even this trend's going to come to an end. This can't go on forever. So the whole time this is drifting down, there's a void forming above, and if you ran a strict buy stop here, you definitely got trapped here. You get trapped here, and here, and here. But if you're doing a cancel replace where you keep putting bigger buy stops in, you're getting in at the same place that last new low coming into Asia, you could have bought right there. Now the spreads were wide here. I bet the spreads were pretty shitty right here at this dotted line, which is the deceiving part about this chart. You cannot see that trade here, see? There's no indication here. This is pure bid. There is no... Spread's pretty bad right now. Actually, 3 plus the spread, so it's not great. Still wide spreads. But this is your spread, which means that you probably had to pay, I'd say the spread was twice as wide as that, so you had to pay this. You couldn't buy down there. It's very deceiving. People think, oh, I could have bought right there. No. That's the bid. The ask was maybe here. And also, if you put your buy limit here and your buy limit here, they're going to fill. They're not going to fill now. Even this may not have filled. Buy limit here for that little swoop down. And if you're buying at the market, which is, you got to trade very, very small at the market, because then you can afford to buy this, 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 and all 3 of those bars. Buy, buy, buy. Then it goes up. Hopefully you're taking one of these off the table. Then you only buy 15-minute pullbacks. Don't look at RSI. Don't look at stochastics. Fuck that shit. If it's down, you're buying. You're a bull. It's down, you're buying. You bought here, and you bought there. There's 5K. There's 3K. Now, I know it's not a lot for people that want to trade 10Ks on each pullback. But if you got to stop that's like this, yeah, maybe they stopped you out of one of these, right? This pullback here. But overall, like right now, what are you going to do in 15 minutes? You're going to sell at the market. Then you got sell limits up here. But you know your target's here. This market's not going to go straight up like this. I know it. In your greedy mind's eye, it's going to do that. But you can see here, people just got raped here. They bought here. Confirmation, it's really going up. How'd that work out? I bet 10% of my account on that because they got a 2% risk. And when you see this happening, you don't notice that this is critical. Rooftop and this one. And the reversal up here, I bet if I went down to the 5-minute chart, there's a double top on there. And that wick is just like, boom. It's so fast. It's so vicious. And there was plenty of liquidity at that very tight spreads there. That wick, because that's U.S. markets opening up. This is a good tool. This is because what this is showing you is a 15-minute chart inside of a 4-hour chart. So you have total perspective. I mean, total, everything's wrapped in there. So it's still plunging north. Let's see what else. Gold. Drifting sideways. It's just trying to absorb the shock and all of everything. Gravestone there practically on the monthly. Yeah, so there's that. It's really amazing how much volatility that spike is just so vicious. Look at that gold market. Wow. I think it's pulling back now. So if I was a bull, once again, when I see a chart like this, I just think, well, just stream some buy limits down here. Huh. I'm not going to fucking buy it here. Looks like it's going to come down. And people would say, well, why don't you sell it? No. I ain't got time for that. I guess I missed my sell. I feel like I missed my sell. I think it's trapped under this floor now, so it's actually looking. So this is the 4 hour double bottom here. So I think people have already gotten that scalp off and here. And then if we start to do this, we'll do engulf and we'll just keep going up. Especially if the economy, you know, because what's the likelihood that it looks to me like maybe it comes to here and then goes up. Taking this out, that would take some work. And once again, that's a good buy. So is this notch here, and then so here's where martingale into gold. You going so heavy there. My God, who's not going to buy at 14 if they see that $100 sell off? It's flirting with 1600 again. So yeah, but see in the long run, this is the thing. It just depends how long you're going to be in these trades because you could rinse and repeat this. All of this price up and downness, you could have traded all this nonsense and even missed out on that and still be making money. But I think people do look at this as being, wow, if I could have just got in here. Of course, that's a breakout trade in a way. I mean, if you have a buy stop here and a buy stop here and a sell stop here and a sell stop here and a sell stop here, they fill you on the long side and, it's quite a run. But when they take out that high, oh boy. Now the range traders come in and these big moves are really attractive. Your eyes drawn to this, like look at this thing collapse here. Vicious moves. So now we're kind of back to normal trading conditions. Things are kind of calm and everybody's like, this looks like a nice buy here. So here's the same kind of pattern as gold. Everything's doing the same thing. It's from volatility to no volatility, and everything's. This is all the way back to fair value of almost this whole chart. We're sitting right in the middle. And this grid paints only so many pips above and below, so it's almost like a support and resistance envelope. But when people see it and they go, that could be useful, I would say if you have a trade plan for that view of things, or this is current price with I think this is like 10 handles above and 10 handles below with the 50. Those are 50 pip handles. That's quite a big move. Very drifty now. So yeah, it's crazy. Look at this. Look at that, man. Bam, that ranging. That it'd be called distribution if you're looking at it from. Plus, all that violence is just. Look at how violent this is, man. I mean, these are just. I don't trade this dollar yen. It's just, dude. Whew, you gotta have some fucking wide stops to trade that. This thing, and this could crush down into this, or it's gonna. We're kind of at that center point here, and it's quiet in Asia, so it's time to make a decision on direction here, I suppose. But if you're doing layered stuff, then it is an incremental decision. It's not a hard decision. So I think that coming back to this hard decision of like, should I buy or should I sell? It's a little too harsh of a fork in the road. Too much of an on and off switch. So yeah, here, I mean, here's the internal buy structure there, but always better to go for a range than a exact price. Looks like the Boeing Airlines is coming back to a nice entry. I'd pay $1.20 all the way down. I think I'd buy it all the way down to like $30 a share. That looks like a no-brainer. Lock in. Like in 3 months, that's a winning trade. I'd probably have to buy that on margin. I don't trade it, but that's an obvious trade. Looks like CAD's gonna keep getting killed by the yen here. I get caught fall off a cliff into this giant crevasse down here. That is kind of spooky. We do see markets crush into these zones. It's hard to believe, but they come all the way down and they just keep tanking into this void. And people are like, holy shit. Euro to the pound did that. It was unbelievable. Get a load of this currency. These people are their mind. Look at this thing. I never see more insanity. I'm going to put my moving average on it. There, that makes it clearer, right? Look at this thing, man. Wow. That is the most psychotic currency pair. Seriously. That's dead in the water. Everything's dead. Everything's consolidating tonight. Euro's coming back into my buy limits. So I'm going to put these double clicks. So here's something I run on the tablet a lot is the 30-minute script. But that looks too deep. On the other demo, I've got a tighter one that comes in like 3 pips. But here I can hand place some. So really conservative trading. Here's risking $3 to make 6. So here I can go like this. And that's if I had a 1 hour script like that, this is 8 hours. So this seems like peanuts, but $3 adds up. Now that it's risking $12. I'm just going to populate this whole thing down here. And then so these are kind of scalpish. $4 to make 8. 8 hours way down here. We could come, when London opens, we could come all the way back crushing into this void, which would be a great trade. So we did that last night. We came smashing all the way down. So here's the 4-hour breakout. Small range here. Breakout. Crush down. The Euro's got clean breakouts. So here, look at this doji. Drift sideways, then smash down. Really right buying area on this price, and this price. And then this guy actually finally got to his break even or didn't quite lose. And this bottom became a top for a little bit there. The people buying down here were like, oh my God, because here's the low of yesterday. Let's go to the daily and zoom all the way in. So that's maximum zoom on the daily. And they just kind of nick that whack there. Try to delete these objects. So here's the stop hunt, so to speak, as yesterday. So we just started today. Right there. It's 25 pip window. Back to the fair value, or the middle of the range from this top to this bottom. Kind of the upper range a little bit. I guess the dead center is like here. So people have all these pivot tools. You could lose your mind. Well, I got the 4 pivot tools, and you'll see the guy Pike from Trader's Way's got like 1 million. And I'm like, what is the significance in weight? I mean, this does matter this high. I mean, the market is so crude and simple. It's like, well, there's the resistance and here's support. Now, what do you do about it? Do you sell a breakdown of support and go with the meltdown and profit from that down momentum and just let it just be a complete confirmation entry and always trade like that? Sure, if your targets would be into the buyer's window, you have to be cashing out. The whole time this goes tanking, you'd have to be cashing out. Right, so you'd have to get that first 25 pips off the table, and then if it really heats up, takes off. But like the guy says in the email, yeah, you kind of want to start coming in on the 25. Um, it's kind of a breakfast blend because it's not a hard profit. It's not a hard entrance. It's like a soft revolving door as you're cashing out. Yeah, you're buying in, and then here would be your big buy. This is the daily chart. It may take 3 days to make it down there, but regardless, this is always going to be this window here of almost 50 pips is always going to be an amazing place to buy. And you could cash out into this or even right to here. So you want to take those 25 and 10 and 13 pip scalps off the table there as it comes ricocheting back off the floor. Or do we buy right now as it's quiet and have limits strewn below? And that's like, you're being very bullish. You're going to buy at the market every time the market doesn't move. So every time it sits there quietly, you're like, okay, I'm going to buy that. I'm going to buy. Because I don't want to chase it. Don't want to chase it. What the fuck's the point of chasing it? Especially on this, and the dailies have calmed down, and now we are corona free. So I'm tracking the Italian death rate. That's the leading edge. It's obviously the canary in the coal mine. And people are just gonna. The funny thing is that well, it's not funny because it could get violent, but people saying bullshit like, well, April 30th, it's going to be really hard and painful. People are like, this guy today, I was in line, and he said, I go, yeah, I know, what the fuck? I go, yeah, what the fuck? I just met this guy. I know who this guy is. He's like, he's telling me he had the flu. Yeah, I know, it's tough. So it's just over, man. Nobody's going to fucking. I can't wait to see them try to throw people in jail for going fucking living their life. And then they're letting the criminals out. What the fuck? So, I guess you have to claim you have corona, but then they'll haul you off and fill you with hydrocortisone or whatever that. Turns out silicone breasts are the cure. Yeah, that same silicone, those things that were killing. Why can't they have a virus wars? Like, build a virus to go after the virus? I'm gonna inject you with cancer because it's like the virus will see that cancer and go, I'm out of here. Can you give a virus cancer? I don't know, it's very complicated stuff, and you're trusting people that are looking at these itsy bitsy, teeny weeny things that can kill you. I mean, anybody see one of these Nerf things running around out there? Every time they show a picture of the virus, I'm like, that looks scary as shit. Looks like a planet that just too many people landed on it. Man, my back's killing me. So, okay, so what are people thinking? What are the big boys thinking? Did anybody call their one of their big boys? Hey, what you got any clue what's going on? So, yes, it's very bizarre. Oh, look, see this really tall view of the market. These are 10 pip stops, 10 pip grid on the euro versus yen. As soon as you zoom out, it just changes your whole mind about the trade. But see here, I got no problem going like this. Buy limits. I like this trade. Yeah, put some buy limits down in here. Very light. I don't think I'm gonna blow the count. I'm not gonna make a bunch of money either. So it's a double. As soon as you risk less, you make less. I like that trade. That's the 30-minute chart. Now we can zoom out, and we're like, oof, maybe I'm too close to the market. Now you see, oh, like, wait, I missed this spot. One more zoom out. Now you're like, holy shit, if we take this out, we could just go to hell with no handbasket. So here's the daily view. And you're like, oh my God, man. There really is no support. But we do know that this hole is very important. And anything beyond that, which is down into the abyss of abyss, I would buy it on there all day long, guaranteed. I put monthly tickets in on this thing. Here's the weekly chart, and that's the monthly. You got to get rid of the handles though. Oh, shit, do I have a template that doesn't have them? Okay, so there you go. Look at this. This could just keep tanking. All the people that love channel trades could probably see that current trend. I could keep going, and it could reverse, but of course, you'd have to be in the trade to experience the pain of that. I can't get that thing to read paint, so I'm just going to put another one and make it like a pitchfork here. So there's that, and I'm sure people have targets down at the bottom of that. So like this would be your closing channels are different than channels built on the wicks. I actually like the envelope idea where you're basically saying I'll buy anything in this window, so then you can take advantage of those wicks. Let me get rid of one of these indicators. Get rid of that the 50 grid. So that's just 100 pips there. Then we kind of have to fix the scale here. So these all create a psychological perspective for what I think is risky, because like you're like if you look at it like this, you're like, holy shit. Especially if you're scalping. Now, when in this fixed scale mode, you can switch time frames now, and you can go to the next time frame without losing your mind. You're like, oh yeah, I see what you're saying. This is 100 pips for each black line. Now it's easy to perceive that if we complete here at the end of 4 hours, so in about at 9 o'clock, which is about 45 minutes away, if we just park it there, I'm buying, because it's a failure to sell any more. Just one ticket at the market. I still have my limits in, and so now I could see, yeah, this is pretty. This is a huge area to place limits, so you can mark this off as somebody that doesn't know how to trade. You could tell somebody, listen, just start putting racks of tickets in here. Because these would last a long time. So that's a very dense order. I'm going to go for the 40 pip ranges here. So I'm just going to fill this up with all of these broad-based, and of course they would last all week long because I don't want to have to do this again. And that price is good all week long, in my opinion. It's a 4 hour chart. If we came out, retested these lows, or actually went into new lows, so what you're counting on is this situation where the market comes down. The same strategies, a bunch of orders piled up in here. You've got some that are just like going to scalp to here, but some may just go for the full engulf. So you go into this gulf. You engulf into the gulf. Same thing on this thing. Smash down, buy, comes down, buy. But, I'm going to buy this plunge. Now, here's where you can only scalp to this floor, and then they're going to smash it again. And you had to see that coming because of the fact that if you look left, it's more like lack of structure leaves the clue of the vacuum, because that's the critical thing. When they fill this hole and then they're able to pull it, so it's the same pattern you see in every market. They fill that hole. The people that are getting that nice, fresh, deep discount, they dump it into this. They already knew they were going to dump it into that. That high probability retracement, I guess you could call it. So people, they know that, and of course the people that are going to go on the short train, they're going to go in, and it's a big move because even the people that have a trailing sell stop get filled, and here's the very small, quiet 4 hour move. Those people or robots come in, big down move. Then again, if you actually did the sell stop fill, and you're taking profits. In a perfect world, your last profit's there, and now you start buying on limits under these. And that limit there, that kind of dense cluster of limits, cashes out into there, and then you're flat. And now, depending how much you did on that trade, you can come back with the limits all over again like this. Go back to a limit entry. So having a say a float of anywhere from 20 to 120k, and some of these 20ks are going to just keep peeling themselves off every now and then. So I'm going to buy 2 pips deep now, and I'm going to buy 6 pips deep, 6 to 14. So it's constantly adjusting, and of course Asia is very quiet and just very bad spreads, and it's not good. It's not good. So you're at the mercy of the moves, and of course these grandiose moves. Looking at this chart, you can see how trading at the market with a wide stop just because it's up and just because it's down actually makes money. Right? Because if you buy it's down, you buy it's down. It's up, you sell. It's up, you sell. And you're really range trading until, I guess this is where you get burned, so to speak, because you sell here and they keep smashing it up. But you would have had to take at least your 10 pips. You cannot ride these things forever. So you need your 10 pips, and that's how you pay the rent. I mean, the small trades add up. Having that big outlandish move, yeah. But look how many false starts here. It's going to go up? No. It's going to go up? No. It's so pip dependent, this damn thing. Here's the daily. We're still dripping down. Here's the 1 hour. So at the end of, I'm going to go for the half-hour chart. I think it's more fun to trade at the market because at the end of half hour, with my rule system, it's okay to buy. It's okay to pull the trigger because the criteria is met. If it's down, I'm buying. If it's down, I'm buying. If it's down, I buy. It's down, I buy. Now I'm long 4K, and I'm going to, in about 7 minutes, I'm going to pull the trigger and buy here. Also got limits, so I get that deep discount if we could just smash it down there really quick. So I got layers of limits, but I will build a position long here on this triangle for one last blast up to the end of the week, and a real strong close and a real punishing move for the dollar. And you can say, oh, you know what? It makes sense because, they're printing so much fucking money that the dollar should be weak. And you can make that to rationalize your trade to make you feel good, but it doesn't necessarily mean that's what's driving it. So it's like, oh, see, fundamentals are eventually cracked. I had this big argument with somebody about it, and I said, sure, eventually the market will go up. And you go, see, and like, okay, so the fundamentals, the market woke up to the fundamentals. It does look like the S&P 500 is kind of trapped people trading the breakout of the Asian low. I mean, Monday's low there, Sunday night. And once again, I guess the market's telling us, if you believe the market's prices are supposed to be a bellwether of like the economy's coming back. I think, yeah, you can make that argument. Not necessary to make money. And these arguments aren't necessary to make money. To say that I went to zero hedge and I saw this thing and I go, okay, then therefore I'm going to do this. Okay. But maybe there's a technical trader or just somebody that's like, oh, it's down, I'm buying. Let's not overthink it. Down, you're buying. Now that's historical times. I mean, is this a kind of a gauge of volatility to come? I don't think so. I think that this kind of psychosis is like rare. Look at that. Get a load of that monthly S&P 500 for the love of Pete. Still technically in an uptrend. Boring days to come. It does look like it could drip down, and we could see it go to here, but I think there's buyers down here. I think there's buyers all the way down. Like, I think it would ricochet off of this. Nearly ricochet off of that. Man, that's some serious volatility. Looks like a beautiful buy on the daily, like from just the most stupid ass trade plan, which is if it's down, I'm buying. Yeah, I would have bought here. Would have bought there and would have bought there. This kind of came back to this top in a way, and it's going to take some work to take this out. But, you know, these people are going to be like, yeah, I took that hydrazima, and I feel great. And that's going to be, well, you know, we're just going to make 1,000,000 tablets. We're going to choke you on fucking cure of that thing. And you know that's what's going to happen. And there'll be so much fucking toilet paper. You won't, the people choking on toilet paper, and they'll need the ventilators to get the toilet paper out of their lungs. You know, you already go to the store, everything's all restocked. There's water up the ass. And people are drowning in water now. That's how silly it is. It's a knee-jerk reaction. But this is what happens when you have people who are connected to the internet. They're all watching this thing, and they're just like, oh my God. I mean, okay. Wow. Overreaction is just, it's comical. That's the sporting event. I know when they close the arenas, you're watching it, the arena here. It's just unbelievable. Yeah, that's like S&P is like, woof. Dead cat bounce. Maybe a drift up to here. Then more selling to come. We could still come into this thing later on. And on the weekly, you're like, oh, I don't know, man. That weekly chart is like I said, the monthly chart is like, this is mind blowing. That's a mind blowing correction. There's some kind of sell off there. I just can't believe it. I mean, I can, but I mean, I think we knew it was coming from the standpoint of this is a lot of volatility. That's not really volatility, but that's a severe from the end of this year, from 2019, the whole year up. Bookends, you know. Going long at the beginning of the year, dump at the end of the year. That is a chunky move. This here, right? How many pips is this compared to this year? Actually down. So 1 year down, 1 year hard up. Since there's no yearly chart, you kind of have to see this. This is not a bad performing year. Another great year for stocks right to the last month of the year. Then the correction. So if a monthly line chart a yearly line chart looks like up, 2 years up, 1 year pullback, 1 year up, divergence, duh, right? Just, there's got to be, that's your classic. If this is wave 4 or this is wave 2 of something. So here's 1 year down, but every other year, winning year, nice, beautiful, smooth trend, pull back, then up, 2 years, 1 year pullback, up. So is this the pullback or is this the beginning of the bear market? So yeah, it could come to here and start walking down, but man, if you're not riding at least the run into this, then maybe it does keep on melting down and it is a bear market. But that's where people say, well, you got to get the timing right. Yeah, no kidding. Because right now, we could still come back to here before we tank, and it's a structure issue. It's not looking at indicators. It really is this price for the S&P. It comes to there, You know people are going to bail, and maybe it gets all choppy, and maybe it does cave in eventually. Keep thinking. There's so many maybes, but it's really because of what's happened in the last 2 years, volatility wise. Wow, you got to step back from this thing because now you got to think about putting your if you were trading the S&P, you'd be like, oh, I'll buy here, I'll buy here, I'll buy here, and we might be going here, and holy shit, and then I'm going to dump that, and then I'm going to make some money that year. So this is how the year starts off. Does that mean that we're going to finish off this year down here? Well, maybe we will. Maybe just be like people like, holy shit, and we're going to retest the lows from 2015. It's not as bad as it looks on this chart because once it gets back to here, a lot of people are just going to get the fuck out. I'd be like, dude, I ain't doing that again. And that's a 50%. Actually, from here, it's almost a 60% bounce, right? So, I'm trading right now. Please hold. See, I said I'd buy it bottom of the hour, and it's 8:30 right now. So let me buy this. I'm going to chase it a little bit. I missed it by 1 minute because I'm sitting there complaining about everything in sight. Here, I'm going to pull the trigger on the market orders here. So, see, I missed my entry. That was the end of the half hour. I should have pulled the trigger. Well, I'll just get in late. No, I'm just going to load up here. 1Ks. Pretty conservative. By the way, I watched the hedge fund guy that blew up the Rogue Wave guy. We had a Rogue Wave on this account. We're down 1,500. And I want to, I wish I would have had that Cuban sandwich with you. So, God, the hedge fund guy. I was showing that to somebody. I said, yeah, they lost 150 million plus. And their reaction was, well, that's not too good. See, there's my targets. So very shallow targets. These are all scalps. Risk 7 pips stop to make 14 pips. This also keeps you from blowing up the account because you got to click all these, but I just put on about 30K there. Here is 8 to make 14, 8 to make. See, this is a diversification. Just click all this shit. Double taps on the, and here's I was running this earlier. This is risk 50 pips, make 100, buy at the market. So this one, I know I'm risking $5 every trigger pull there. Now I'm going to come out with the limits all over again too. So I'm going to hit this. I'm going to use these guys and just come in super tight because I think we could still go down again. Even though I pulled the trigger, I was supposed to pull the trigger here at the half hour and lock that trade in. I'm still going to put limits all the way down here tonight because I think they could still crush it down. And when I say they, I mean the herd of people or who's ever. I guess orders are pulling the market down. I don't care how it works. I don't care whose tickets are where. I don't want to see level 2. I just want to worry about what I'm thinking as far as what I think is a possible buy zone. So I'm going to go low on my analysis and high on my money management. All right, so we're locked in on that. I'm at about, I think I'm in, oh gosh, I want to say 4 standard lots right now. Yeah, I think so. 501 leverage, $800. Maybe it's just 2 standard lots. I usually trade 1,001 leverage, so I don't know. I can't do the math on this right now. Don't care, but I know I've got $2,700 free. That's always the big factor. Looks like we're going to leave the station here. So I'm going to chase it at the market on the British pound also. Not the best way to trade, but we'll put in a wider stop here. 35 pips stop to make 22 pips on the pound. And I want to scalp the pound. 18 pips stop to make 28. 14 pips stop. And these are healthy stops. But I can make one. Each ticket could be one stop difference. So you can see how it's like a endless array I could be trading. Here's break even, 25 pips to make 25 pips, and this is buy at the market, and this BM means buy at the market. Here's a buy stop. I rarely hit this ticket. 2 hour buy stop, 12 pip stop to make 22. Let's put it in there. What the fuck? It's confirmation entry about 2 pips away from current, 3 pips away from current here. So this will get in if we can in 2 hours break out to the upside. That's BS buy stop. Here's some sell limits that are double clicks. That sell limits are kind of close, a little too close. 20 pips away. Looks like we're right on top of the market. Here's some sell stops. So you could just hit buy stops and sell stops, and when the market's going sideways, just stack all that up. I mean, it's really, you could do anything you want, really. That's the cool thing about it, is you can do whatever you want. I mean, nobody's telling you what to do, which could be a problem if you want a signal service and feel like, oh, I feel safe going long. This guy always has good signals. You could go. I'm a do-it-yourself person, so if I know how to fix my own car, I'm probably not going to ask even somebody who supposedly knows. I don't know. I kind of want to figure it out. I don't trust people. It comes down to this. I just don't trust anybody to tell me. Like this Corona thing, I'm like, okay, I got that you guys have dialed in this thing to number 19. Is COVID 20 going to be worse? It's like Chicago, the band. This is Chicago 11. Chicago 16 was great. Full digital. That's the ticket. Just come out with numbers for your albums. The White Album, that was with an embossed number, was the ultimate in like, well, the White Album. There you go. Kind of racist in a way. I don't know if they could do it now, but I did have a Black Sabbath album that was all black. The antidote to the Beatles, I think. Beatles just being too cheesy, I suppose, for the real hardcore musicians. Yeah, I mean, I can appreciate the Beatles. Great songwriting. I'm always amazed at the songs I hear, and I go, that is amazing lyrics in the song. And then I look it up. It's the person that's singing it wrote it, or maybe they didn't. I'm always amazed that I'm like, they didn't even write that. Some unknown, no name wrote that. And I'm just really kind of thinking, yeah, that's too good of a song almost. It's just so structurally. Anybody could sing it and it would make sense. The lyrics make sense. I think people want that from the market. They want to make, what? That move doesn't make sense. Why did the market go down? It was good news for that stock, or it's good news for gold. Why is it going down? There's just order imbalances are created. I don't think the market's looking at the news going, we should go up. The market has no thought of its own. It doesn't know it doesn't know that it exists, and it doesn't know that you exist. So it's a very bizarre relationship to trade, because you kind of, it's like this shadow boxing thing. It doesn't know, and you feel like it's after you, or it's ruining. It's not doing what you want. And people say, oh, the market wants to go up. No, you want the market to go up, and you're saying that I can read into the market. I'm that good, but man, some of these moves are just brutal, vicious, and they just come out of nowhere sometimes. You'd be in a trade, and all of a sudden you're like, the fuck? What? The news come out, and you'll go look at, there's no news. But I think the clock matters. Like, get to 9:30, get to like London Open, market gets all frisky just before news comes out. I mean, it can make some serious moves. Then the news comes out, then it goes the other way. And all these kind of scenarios. And that's why people don't want to trade the news, because the volatility obviously is the problem. It's all about volatility. It's not, and the spreads do get wide during news. So then it's about slippage. It's about this. It's about that. People will wait till the market calms down. I've waited 10 minutes till news is supposedly absorbed by the market, and still the market starts reeling and just going spaz. You could not have traded the Donald Trump election. I'm sorry. I don't care. I mean, people could have traded that, but you're looking at a market going up 80 pips, down 100 pips every 45 seconds and stuff. You're like, yeah, I could have captured one bounce of that. That's it. You cannot fucking ride that through all of that, and then you're like, yeah, maybe with the widest stop, just crazy wide stops, right? So taking off here on the euro finally. Okay, 10-minute traders are on top of this. 10-minute traders are going berserk over this trade. Go to the 5-minute chart. That's my version of the 10-minute chart. So we have pullback doji here on the 5. Looks like if we take out this double top here, this pressure zone, this old 10-minute top, that's a 5-minute chart, get the 50-yard line. I think we could pop and then start make a little run here. I definitely think I'm cash. I already got my exits built in here, so I'm going to get out in here where I know the sellers are. But if I just want to trade from the long side, which is easier to. So when you're talking about putting sell stops in with buy limits beneath, I don't know how particular you are, but it's well, if you just trade from run direction, it makes life simpler because you're thinking just about, I go flat into the seller's window and just put buy limits back in. Because if there really are sellers up there, they're going to push it down and not just catch it on the buy limits. So keeping track of your exposure, whereas if you have the sell stops, how many sell stops did I put? I don't know how diligent you are. Of course, if you start layering in, you don't want to layer with 10Ks because you could go to 2Ks and say, well, that's I just doubled my risk. And it's always going to be about the targets and the frequency of the trading. And are you going to get in Asia here where things are quiet? And try to get in before you don't want to chase it. So, here we're still above this price. So if you're looking for kind of a stop hunt, I'm sure there's a stop sitting back here. So if you have the buy limit sitting in this pocket and you've been buying for the last, you bought at 8 o'clock you bought because it was down. If it's down at 9 o'clock here, if we get one more sell off into the top of the hour, I'll buy again. But not if I'm about to get filled on limits, because then I have to cut off to stay within my sizing. I'd have to say, well, can't buy at the market anymore. Of course, that if you're only doing it every hour, it's not going down for 24 hours in a row. So, and if it is, if you think it's a down mark, if it's down, and you're on the hourly chart, there's only like 3 sells here, and they're late in the trend. There wasn't really a chance to sell this unless you went to the half-hour chart and you go, it's up on the half-hour sell. And you're getting on the short train. And you still have to be aware that there's going to be buyers down there at the bottom. At some point, you got to get off the train. Was it worth the ride? And then people say, well, then sell on the 15. Yeah, if you're really aggressive, you're going to sell every 15-minute rally in a supposed, you're a bear for whatever reason. And you keep exploiting that, whether it's preferably if you're a trend trader, it's a slight move up and you sell. A slight rally on the half hour and 15, you sell. Those are the lowest risk. You can run the tightest stops in the world. Tightest stops comfortably. In a screaming market that pulls back a little bit or even modestly, yeah, you'd buy. Pulls back a lot, you buy with a wide stop and you wait because there's probably going to be more follow through. But it's about locking something in instead of going out and trying to catch some giant trophy fish that you set up on the Gartley pattern, because that is just harebrained shit. But people love that shit. That's why the guy Jason, the guy in Britain who, I can't remember his name, and he was on the Empowered Trading Crew. He still got this thing, he trades like, he does these setups on one position. Now, granted, they are scaling out of that initial entry. They get in on a thing and maybe I'll take off half the position. Boy, their entry is focused. It's in one price slot. But to compromise and have, okay, it's a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Because the market is on the clock. I think we just updated the 50-minute chart here. So that is a real rhythm method. And the extent that the market has moved in the past 15 is going to determine how tight a stop. So here I can run a tight stop. We just closed down 15 minutes just very slightly. So I'd buy there with a tight stop. So I put in my scalps here. I want to scalp out of the gate. On the way to this price here, I want to be out of something. So now I got to put in 5 pip targets, really tight, super tight targets here like this. So I'm going to go pick those tickets. You get to about 300K real quick here. So all these peanuts add up here is like, okay, 6 pips stop to make 10 pips at the market. And as soon as it starts going up, I'm going to stop buying. But I got until the top of the hour here. It's 1:45. Okay. I think that's about as far as I want to get like $900 of margin going here, maybe. 5 pips stop to make 12. Pretty tight stops, but yeah, it's okay. Low loss, right? So I can really load the wagon on these little scalpers. Now here's the higher risk trade. At the top here, we got the 10 pip stop, which sounds like, you hit this 10 times, you're risking $10, so it adds up. Here's a 12 to make 25, a little wider. Here's my widest stop, 15 to make 50. And now I'm done buying, and I'm going to put more limits in that are really tight and small here. Because I still think we could tank. So for 8 hours, I'm going to buy that pullback. And this could account for another $200 of margin usage here. Easily. So I'm taking a risk there. This is what it's about. That's cool. $900 of margin. If we can make $1,000 from our $900, we'll be back to like 4,400. And considering how I'm trading like a slob on this thing, here's the 1 hour chart. So I don't think we're going to fill here. So I could do this one, a 1 hour chart, just put right here in this pocket. I'll put a couple clusters in there. British pound looks like ready. It looks just like the euro, like ready to leave the station. If you go to the 1 hour euro, they have the same kind of. Of course, this is a different, a little slightly different situation. It looks beautiful here in the pound. Like, wow, look at that setup. We could still get a nice wick on that, and that would be the trailing buy limit. We'd pick that up with the buy limit. So I'm kind of trying to get a two different things going on here. The buy limit plunge, and we got the buying at the market on the 4 hour. So, and London's going to open up in at least 8 hours. I don't have to be here for the smash down, and I'm going to actually go for the 20 pip range, so I don't have to keep launching all that stuff. Here's a 36 pip range, a 10K. Now, these would last all week, I think, would just be all day or all week. Once you get down like this, who wants to keep putting that in every... So you wouldn't put a 15-minute ticket down there, I don't think. See, it doesn't make sense because you'd have to keep... Like, if the news came out, I would put a 15-minute... if this was expired in 15 minutes, yeah, the news comes out, they slam that down, and actually it's the perfect fit because you're looking for that instant flash into that ticket, then rebound out, retrace, cash out. But if this lasted all week, put a 5K in over a 40 pip zone way down here all week or all month. There's buyers down there. It's guaranteed. So Guaranteed buyers down there. So we're tanking again on the euro. We're buying this on limits. We're buying this at the market. Buying 2 pips deep. 6 pips deep. So there was a little drama here. Look at this 5-minute euro. So we had a little spikeage here to the 40 handle. Oh shit, I just gotta reload a new template because I can't get that to zoom in. Too far, too much work. So like, see this little smash down on the 5. Now here's where we can start heating up and tanking for real here though. Right, keep smashing down because we really want to go stop hunt. I think this guy, right? There's a guy with a protective stop here, so we could still come smashing on that. So I think I picked up a few K just now on that smash. Oh, that was the British pound. So let me go for the hand placed orders here. So right in the slot. I could pick different targets. Here's my greediest one. 20 pips stop to make 40 pips. That's pretty greedy, I think. And then you just sit back. So a lot of this involves just doing nothing after doing that because you have to wait, see if we can get filled on that. It looks like the pound's a lot stronger. The euro's just kind of like still consolidating underneath this. So in the 4-hour chart, it's just all drifty. All drifty. I think that you gotta go for the time frame that seems daily. It looks like still dripping down. But from this binary look of just buy sell on the half-hour up and down bars, bullish bar sell, bearish bar buy. I'm just gonna throw different templates in here. I think this is 100 pips on these big green, 50 pips on the small black. Different colors for the orders. That's my limits. And there's my targets. There's my stops. Okay. Still tanking. There we go. So we just got filled on some limits, I think. I also want to buy in the market down. And market as it drops here a little bit. Right into the top of the hour. Looks like we're going to get that classic smash down here in the limits. So you had to figure that was coming. The stop hunt of taking out the low of Asia. And at the top of the hour, I'll buy at the market. We just nicked the wick here. Right there, coming into the window. So I'll buy a couple more at the market, and then I'll put in some wide market orders. And now I'll put in the limits, hand place, because I can put them where I want, really tight. So I'm going to buy every pip for 10 pips here with a 20 pip stop. 8 hours. This broker goes offline a lot, so I'm not going to get a fill here. To wait. It's 10 pips apart. So it's getting all frisky here. Kind of smash down and rock it up. Or just smash down and keep smashing or drip down. At the top of the hour, so you got 6 minutes left. If it's down, we buy. 5-minute traders just updated. So a 5-minute trader is really aggressive. They would have bought, following that rule list, Down buy, down buy, down buy with a wide stop, down buy with a wide stop. If it's down, big buy with a wide stop. Did they trap the people trading this breakout? Well, those people have already scalped to here. People that have really tight spreads. It's a very tight spread here on this thing. So that's why I trade the euro dollar, because this is a tight spread. I mean, you could make money here, right? A couple scalps. And you're usually not going to get, there'll always be a fill. Whereas I dropped that script on the pound and it just wouldn't come in. Like so here, buy limits for a possible smash down again. There's really no limit on this broker for. So here we're about to cash out of something, I think, or we could. Picked up a few more K. I should buy at the market here if it goes down again. Yeah, I think I'll just pull the trigger here. While we're right there. And if you wait, I usually just click, because I just want to not wait. Kind of just nail all these things and just walk away, because I'm not going to sit there and I'm going to let my limits fill if it goes down lower. But I could see here, if you buy here, I just got a better price by that much. So you could sit here and just trade at the market and go, it's a better price. But if you just want to go get something to eat, well, I guess you have to go make something in the kitchen. But you just put the limits in and go, you know what, I'll just pull the trigger anyway. So, or buy with a 15 pips stop here to make 50 pips on a 1K, and then come in with the limits like this and go, okay, I know I got that price, but I want to put these guys in. And I would put them on 1 pip apart at this point, because you can put a half a pip apart. So you can put my orders in between. These scripts are actually written a pip apart, but if I put them here, I know that's like a half a pip apart. And if it takes out this wick, it's a guaranteed buy at this time. Now it's 3 minutes before the top of the hour. Here's the 1 hour chart. The 1 hour traders are not over trading. They just bought this one, pulled back, and this one. Also, that's the thing. If you're on that, if you have that rule list that I only buy and sell on the 1 hour chart, then you're not over trading. And maybe you have to make those tickets bigger, because now you under trading's a problem too, because you're missing opportunities on some level. This is like the midpoint. Maybe this is a 618 pullback for people. God knows. A lot of things people do to justify the trade. Feel comfort with that entry. Okay, it looks like we're taking a little run here now. We got 2 minutes before the top of the hour. And all the charts update here. We have the half hour is going to update, the 5 minutes is going to update, and the 1 hour. So in the 1 minute, I suppose, and the 10 minute, all those time frames are going to, even the 20-minute chart updates at the top of the hour. So there's a big unification there. And I would have bought, I bought here, and I would buy in 2 minutes. In 1 minute, I should buy here if it's down. And if it's up, I'm not going to chase it. 5 minutes after the top of the hour, we could go smashing up or smashing down. Very rambunctious. If you go to the 5 minute chart and this window here, and kind of trapping the sellers that put sell limits, sell stops here for confirmation, they're underwater in that trade right now. So I am looking for a possible smash here, 5 minutes, so in 6 minutes. So we got about 15 seconds here left for the 1 minute to make it to 9 o'clock. But look at all this range trading here. It's just so silly, right? On the 5 minute, buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell. So you'd have to be careful on the 5. You could overtrade it. You want to trade a smaller size because, oh my God. So there you go. That's 9 o'clock now. Now, are we going to break? This is the last bar before the top of the hour. Are we going to break out that 5 minute chart and go up? Or are we going to take out this and tank? So they've trapped. This would be engulf. If you could take this out, we just engulfed. And we can scalp to here. And these are all my scalps. And we get to here. Once we cash out of that, if we made enough money, we can come back and do the rinse and repeat. Put buy limits trailing underneath this as it goes up. And we can still lay selling limits up here too. And, you know, starting here, here, and here, we know there's sells. But those, once again, are my take profits. So if it's okay, you could trade both directions with all those tickets, but sometimes going flat, it's just psychologically more free feeling to just cash out, go flat, and then reassess, or just stop trading if you think you've made enough money that day. You don't have to trade all day long. And if you have really deep pendings down here, let the market come to your pendings and prove you right. That's the Alexander Creed, is let the market prove you right. If you think that's what's going to happen, then put the trade on. So we're looking to pop this cork. We still have 4 minutes left before before this bar updates. It's hard to believe. I know these, and it's like some of these moves are just, look at this move here. 10 minutes straight down. This is vicious. Look at that. Whoosh. That's some moves, man. These things can move. Look at this thing pounding. We still got 4 minutes left. Look at the sellers came in off that. So the reaction is that as soon as it hits that, there's sellers there. Each little window has buyers and sellers. There's supply and demand zones all around you on this 5-minute chart. We've also filled this little hole, but now there's this. There's stops stacking up here that need to be hunted. We could just spike down into that. Still got 3 minutes left before 5 minutes after the top of the hour. And those 5-minute robots or whatever, you know, there's confirmation. But then we could have a complete, in 2.5 minutes, we could close up here and then come ripping back to here. But then here comes the people that buy on pullbacks. Because people sold. The bears sold. You can tell where the bears won. If you wanted to consider this a bottom becoming a top, or let's just say you sold every rally. You sold here, you sold here, you sold here, you sold. That's not really a rally. You sold here, you sold here. So you're long, you're short 4K at roughly the same price, believe it or not. See, look at the sellers came in after that. So we're still waiting for the update here. And we could have scalped out of something I wasn't paying attention. I don't even know if we made money on that. So roughly the same price you sold, and then this big down whoosh. Could cash out. You could also, what this guy was saying about with this trailing layer sell stops, you could also just completely trade like a goof at the market all day long. If you could be awake for 24 hours. You buy, you sell, and you're building a winning hedge. You buy, you sell, you buy, you sell. And then here's your measured move, right? Down like this. Find the lowest close in there, here. So even on the 5-minute chart, you see these patterns, but you got to trade pretty hefty to make a living doing these trades all day. And to perceive that that trade's even available, but if you're selling that slight rally, you're selling that rally. You're going to sell here, supposedly. So you get 1 minute left. Look at all this drama, and this is be the 5-minute bar after the top of the hour. Top of the hour is right there. So there's a lot of drama in this bar. And you could pop into this. You still got a minute left. Pop up into that or smash down into this. But people that are going to hold this for the next 2 hours are like, I'm just going to hold it here. Or they cashed out of something and they're going to hold the rest in hopes that we are going to take out this trend line. So trend lines are made to be broken. This is the trend line. And, right? Okay, so here we go. We're still waiting to update that 5-minute bar. It's unbelievable. There, boom. So it's 5 minutes after. Big bar there. Now, if it goes down, I'll buy. After this bar, if it goes down, I'll buy, and I got a buy limit pending here. So I'm just wanting to get involved. close here. These might be 15-minute and half-hour buy limits, 2-hour buy limits. The deeper it goes, the longer they last, because I'm counting on a momentum trajectory kind of entry, where I'm saying, if we can make it down here in 4 hours, I will buy. So I have buy limits starting here in this pocket. And I'm like, yeah, that's a good, I could see that getting down there in 4 hours. And if it gets there too late, then I don't want the trade. But if it gets there early, I'm still in, because if it gets there in 50 minutes, it's going to fill. So I'm putting a threshold on the expiration. So the expiration is that by here, that ticket expires, means that if we go like this and then we go smashing down, this ticket won't be there to buy, but this one would. So the deeper, the longer lasting. So it's going to look like this, where this ticket lasts this long. As it goes deeper, this one's still pending, and this one's still pending, way the hell out in future. Okay, so I'm going to have to go get something to eat. There's 2.5 hours of nonsense right there for your entertainment.